got a really cool project for you today. We are going to make a heater slash stove using nothing but an ammo can and some materials you can easily get at any hardware store.
And then we're going to actually put it to the test. We're gonna cook a full breakfast of bacon and eggs using it and then test it inside this tent to find out just how well it works as a heater. This is a 50 caliber ammo can. It's about 5.5 inches in width and around 11 inches in length. As for the rest of the materials, this is the stuff that you're gonna need. Starting over here, we've got the legs. These are just the cheapest shelving brackets I could find. They are 10 inch by 12 inch. You'll also need 4 3 inch by 3 inch L brackets. You'll also need some fireplace gasket material, some 16 gauge steel sheet, a door latch, a small hinge, a roughly 5 by 10 inch grate, and finally you'll need a 4 inch metal ducting end cap. If you use this as a tent heater, you will also need an adapter that goes from 4 inch to 3 inch, and then, you know, whatever 3 inch size ducting or piping you need to get, to be your chimney. I guess there's nothing to do but get started with the build.
So what better way to test this stove than to get out in the woods and cook some stuff? So here we go.
And the great thing is it's all in the ammo can itself. You can pull the cap off to reveal that, and then we open up the stove, and what do we got inside? The lighter and the offset for the pan, so we can just throw that on the top. Open the door and attempt to start a fire.
Let's go.
Might not be enough, we'll see.
Yeah, I think we'll need a little more.
Yeah, give me some more. Load that in the front. You can also load stuff in through the top, because of course this hinges right up.
Do that next time.
Good work, yeah. Like I said, this wood is very dry, so.
So Jake is actually using a piece of bamboo as a straw to blow the fire, so you can really direct that air current right where you need to, and it keeps you from having to get your face right into those smoke and those fumes.
Let's go ahead and prep the ammo box. That includes peeling off any stickers. After that, go ahead and open up the ammo can, and the lid just falls right off. Okay, cool. Inside the lid, you'll notice there's a thick rubber gasket. Pop a corner, and then you can peel out that gasket. Boing. We're gonna replace that gasket with our fireplace gasket, which is appropriately heat-proof. Go ahead and measure out about how much you will need. Looks like about that much. We'll go ahead and cut that. Okay, and there we are. You can see we've got our fireplace gasket in place. Let's test the fit. Reattach the lid. Wham, bam, thank you, bam. Beautiful. That works perfectly. We're going to cut a 3 inch by 4 inch square. Well, technically that's a rectangle in the hinge side. So go ahead and find roughly the center. It'll end up being roughly 1 inch from either side as well. There we are. So we got 3.5 wide, roughly 3.5 wide, and roughly 4 inches tall. Perfect. More angle grinding. Hooray! Grab a file and go ahead and clean up those edges. Grab your 16 gauge steel sheet. That's what we're gonna make the door out of. We're gonna cut the steel 4.5 by 5 inches. Bam. And as you can see, that gives us about 1/2 inch of overlap on either side. Perfect. To the angle grinder. For attaching the hinge, you'll want the hinge to be about flush with the bottom of the ammo can. So we'll just take a washer and slide it underneath the hinge, just to act as a little offset, so it'll line up more correctly. Nice. Now we need to install the latch. Ah! fine. And we have a latching door.
I like fire. Fire's my favorite.
Figure what better way to test this than the good old bacon and eggs.
Oh yeah, baby.
With a cast iron skillet.
Nice. Ooh. See what temperature we got in the pan.
So we got oxygen coming in here, and then obviously heat rises, so all the flames and all the heat wants to come out of the hole up on the top. And since we put this offset, so the fire and fumes can escape, and the pan can still sit on top. Oh yeah, that's hot.
Okay. Nice. All right,
I'm gonna crack it on the pan like a civilized human.
Psh, I'm a barbarian and we know that. All right. There's a lot of grease in here. This can pop you, so watch out. Oh,
Delicious,
that was good.
Finally
Here.
got your breakfast in.
I'm so hungry.
Probably noon.
All right. You want the egg?
Sure.
It's pretty good.
Nothing like eating a fried egg with your hand.
Right? Oh no, you dripped all the yolk everywhere. That's a party foul, Jake. I don't think we can give you any more food today.
The next step, you'll notice that our handle is actually gonna be in the way of our chimney. The chimney's gonna be right about there, and the handle's in the way, so the handle has got to go. So grab you a screwdriver. Being careful to do as little damage as possible because we want to reuse this handle and just mount it somewhere else. Bam, there's the first bracket free. Just little weak spot welds. If the brackets got bent a little bit, no worries. Just take it to a hard surface and hammer it out flat. Then we're just gonna flip our ammo can over, pick a side, and remount the handle on the side instead of on the lid. And because these brackets are small, we are of course going to use the small 1/8" rivets. That works pretty well. Let's mount our end plug, which is gonna go right on top and push back until it hits the hinge mount on the back of the ammo can. Just go ahead and eyeball it in the center. Okay, well, I am what the French call an idiot because I marked it on the wrong side. You actually want it on the front, not the hinge side of the ammo can, the latch side. And you're gonna wanna put it roughly 1.5 inches from the very front of the ammo can. Latch side, not hinge side. I'm a genius. Go ahead and find you something that is 3 inches in diameter. This is just a soup can. Place that in the center of that circle you just made. Go ahead and make sure it's evenly lined up on all sides. And then hold it in place and mark all the way around that. Now let's cut that out. But before you do that, go ahead and do the same thing to the end plug. And line up the soup can, hold it down, mark around it. Perfect. We're going to cut this out as well. And there we go. Haha, beautiful. We're gonna put 4 rivets on the inside lip that we've created here. And now that thing is firmly attached. To build the standoff for your pot or pan or whatever you're gonna use, we'll take 4 L brackets and arrange them just like this. You'll then put a rivet through each of these 4 sides, holding them all firmly together. Place the offset on top of the stove and make a mark where each of the ends goes. That creates notches for the offset to sit in. As you can see, we are inside a tent. Not only can you burn wood in this, you can also burn
these mini fire logs.
These mini fire logs. These are something that Grant made back in the day. It's a roll of cardboard with wax poured down the middle. Basically, it's a giant candle. So we'll go ahead and sit that down in there. You can also use like charcoal briquettes. You can burn all kinds of stuff in this thing. And before we light it, we need to put our chimney on so we don't get this place full of smoke. I'm also curious if this little cardboard candle will be enough. We've got a bunch of wood here, so if this thing doesn't put off enough heat, we can go ahead and light it with wood normally. So we'll let that go ahead and catch good, and then we'll shut the main door. So what this vent on the side is for fine-tuning the air mixture inside for when you're using it as a heater, because obviously if you're using it as a heater, you don't want it burning way too fast, so you can go ahead and adjust this vent to let it burn really slowly.
So the reason why this is actually going to heat up your tent is it's going to heat up the entire ammo can, and so the heat is radiating from all these metal surfaces and even the vent to a certain degree, and that's what's heating up your tent. It's not the actual fire that's coming out. We're trying to vent off all the fumes here, but the actual box is getting really hot and pouring heat off, so you probably don't want to touch that while it's on.
No, you do not. All right,
cool. All right.
I'm leaving. Okay, now we're gonna leave that for, let's say, 15 minutes, and then we'll go back in and see what temperature it's at. Moving on to the vent in the side for when you're using it as a heater, go ahead and take your 3-inch template, I guess that's what it is, and throw it somewhere on the side, somewhere around there. Exactly where, that's up to you, doesn't really matter. Trace that out, just like that. Then go ahead and grab your 16 gauge steel, or what's left of it, and trace that out. Make sure to give yourself a little bit of room on at least one of the sides. You will see why in a moment. Okay, pick a side, a corner, and make a little tab, just like so. Beautiful. Go ahead and make a mark in the center of that circle. Go ahead and drill that hole and cut the shape out. Get you a piece of cardstock paper and cut out a couple of wedges that are roughly this size. Now you want to make sure that they're small enough that you have enough material on the edge and in the middle. And you want to make sure they're small enough so that if you were to rotate them, you could fit 4 of them. But you're only going to cut 2. Now go ahead and cut out that shape. Note, it might be easier if you drill a hole at each of the 4 corners. That might make it easier for you to cut out such a small shape with an angle grinder. You should be able to just knock the pieces out with a hammer. Just like this. Take that piece of metal and transfer the holes to the ammo can itself. And then cut these out and drill the center hole. Let's see if we did this right. Oh yeah. You can see if we rotate it, it closes those vents, and then if we rotate it back, it opens the vents. It's very self-explanatory. The legs we're gonna make out of these shelf brackets. I believe I might have gotten the size too large. It's 10 inches on one side and a foot on the other. We want the 10-inch length to be the actual leg section. So what we're gonna do is make a mark right about here, something like that. And we're gonna actually cut off this entire section right here. You want the leg to be roughly flush with the edge of the ammo can, something like that. and make your marks. Drill the hole and then rivet it down. And then with the magic of editing, that will duplicate 3 more times. Bazinga. One last thing we're gonna do to the legs. Grab you a pair of pliers, very bottom, and bend it out, just like that. And finally, throw in your grate. If you want, you could bolt the grate down, but I'm going to leave it loose to make it easier to clean.
So here's all the fumes you would have been breathing that you will no longer breathe because they're coming out of the vent. And that's why it's so important to be able to have a good vent system. Yeah.
Okay, it's been 15 minutes. I'll go ahead and take a reading of the floor so we know ambient temperature. It's 73 degrees in here. And now, let's open it up and see what temperature it is inside.
I'm kind of excited. All right, what's the temperature, Jake?
This sidewall says 82. How about up top? No, it's 87 up in the top. 90 degrees up here. Heat rises. 88. Also, one thing to point out, this is a summer tent. The whole top is mesh. So the rain fly is over it, but there's a lot of like ways for heat to leak out. But this thing is serious.
Definitely is warm in here.
Good grief.
I would not be able to sleep in this heat.
No. Yeah, 86. It's over 10 degrees warmer in here.
Nice. This project worked way better than we expected. It works as a heater, as a stove, as a fire pit. We hope you had fun and that you learned something. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, let the random happen.
See you next time.
We lost our sound. Here.
So hot.
Here.
It's still just burning away.
That thing's amazing.